Doing.
Hello, chat.
Now we're live. Okay. Seamless.
Sorry, guys. We've been chatting for about 5 minutes and I completely forgot to click that little button that says go live.
We're a professional team. What can we say?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. It's not the first time I've done it, is it? I do recall doing this once before.
Let's do a 5 minutes backwards. So Doctor Who, B&M. Tell us about that, Gareth.
Yeah. As I started off saying, there's not much to talk about this week, so it's just going to be some general meandering. But today, some news did drop. Now, I know it's not something that everybody's interested in, but let's see. Let me bring this up on the screen. The new B&M figures have been announced. Share screen with that one. Share. Are we sharing? Yeah, we're sharing. Yay! If I split that, does that? Oh, that works as well. That's even better because I can see you guys and I can see this.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. I'm learning all the time. So yeah, these they keep going up in price. They started off at around about a year ago. They were $14.99, $16.99 for a pack of figures. They went up to $19.99. They're now at $24.99, which it's getting to that point where they're no longer B&M bargains. You know, it's B&M will come and get them if you want.
So what?
Maybe they're learning from the people that are scalping and decided to just do it themselves.
Right.
But people will buy it at that
price. Why are these so expensive then? Is it B&M that's just putting the price up?
Well, I'm assuming that's the case, and I dare say they're going to quote usual cost increases like everybody else is quoting at the moment. But no, they're exclusive to B&M, and to be fair, both of these in this set are actually brand new figures.
If you've got exclusivity, then you can charge what you want because no one else can compete against you. So you laugh at me.
Yeah. And they are used to having their shelves cleared by so-called scalpers that then flip them on eBay.
Yeah.
I'm greedy. I always plan on getting 2 of each, one to open, one to keep boxed. But the thing is, I never open them and they just end up going into storage. But when they're there in front of me, instead of getting the 2, I normally pick up 4 or 5. and that's purely because I see what other people are getting for them. I'm like, well, what a slice of that cake. So, top floor at the shop is absolutely full of all these B&M boxes.
So B&M, is that really acting more like a wholesaler, actually?
Essentially, yeah. Never really thought of it that way, but yeah, definitely. But yeah, anyway, the announcements are this one. It's I'm loving the new packaging, by the way. Let me see if I can get you a picture of the previous packaging. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I do this. I never thought of this at first.
Right, okay. Well, the point I'll make then is we spoke about this, was it yesterday, Gareth? About this kind of thing where a figure comes out and then there's no other word for it, but greedy collectors come in and buy multiples of it and then just sit on them, wait till they go out of stock and then try and sell them off to other collectors at inflated prices.
Yes.
Which I think is wrong. It's not right, especially when these particular collector types are on groups, collecting groups that are promoting the looking out for the collectors and they've got the collectors' best interests at heart. And it's like, well, no, you haven't. If you had your fellow collectors' interests at heart, you would buy one and then wait till all your fellow collectors got one themselves. Then you'd start buying multiples.
Because what B&M could do is put a limit on the number that an individual could get at one crack for the first couple of weeks or something, and then that would give everyone a fair crack.
They could, but by the
They'll
same
sell more.
token, they could, but by the same token, collectors could show some fucking restraint and self-control and just buy one and stop being so bloody greedy, you know. And so I say, right, okay, I only need one. I'll get one. I'll let a fellow collector.
I need two.
You what?
I need two.
Why do you need two?
One to keep in the box and one to keep in the box because I keep meaning to open it and never do.
Well, just buy one then.
No. Because if I only buy one, then Jim Bob behind me is going to buy the other 10 that's left and he's going to sell them all. So why shouldn't I have some to sell?
That's the free market economy, kids.
And do you know who I blame for this?
Maggie Thatcher?
On this particular instance, there is manufacturers. Yeah, I don't think that these should be B&M exclusives at all. They should be available everywhere.
Thatcher, anyway.
they should be available everywhere. But I also think that B&M, if they're going to keep them as exclusives, they should bring a shipment in, put them out, everyone goes nuts. More stock comes in. They put them out, people go a little bit nuts, but then there's still some left for everyone else. Because they've got some more coming in as well. And then they're going to sit there on the shelves and everyone's going to be able to fill the boots. But they don't do that. They just get one lot in and once it's gone, it's gone.
Rationing might be the way to do it. Yeah.
I think the way that they drop them is ridiculous as well. They don't even hit all the stores at the same time. Which creates...
that's down to distribution and planning. Is that, you know?
Well, I think planning definitely.
that will be a head office store distribution decision that they're just not doing it properly. They're not doing the job properly. So they'll have a bunch of stock at the warehouse and they won't send it out to individual stores as they should be doing. You know, they'll be allocating. What they'll probably do is they'll allocate certain stores where they know that particular type of product has sold well before, and they'll prioritize them stores, and then low priority stores, you know, may get some or they may get none. You know, so stuff like that used to happen when I used to be stockroom manager for Habitat donkeys years ago. You know, over 20 years ago. You know, there'd be particular lines that would only sell through certain stores, you know, because it was either a price point specific or it was just, like I say, it was a particular line that would sell well at a particular, you know, location.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry, Gareth, can we just turn music down a little bit? Because I feel like I'm having to shout over it.
Your connection just keeps dropping out, to be fair.
My connection keeps dropping out? It shouldn't do.
It sounds all right to me. I've not noticed.
He's gone silent a couple of times while he was talking for me.
Yeah, it might be your end.
No, it's fine.
I think you've accused me of that in the past as well, so I don't know.
Maybe it is my end then.
Oh dear.
It looks all right.
Bit of tish.
Where we at? Yeah, right, okay. I'm going to try and show you the previous packaging. Well, let me show multiple screens at once. So
he's a bit in the shadow of that box, isn't he? In that corner.
Right. Okay. So this is the packaging that we've had since She Who Shall Not Be Named became the Doctor. I've always felt that this was really bland.
It looks a little bit knock-offy, doesn't it, somehow?
Yeah, I've just always felt it looks quite wishy-washy. I think there's a certain element of... This is giving it far too much credit, but there's a certain element of it being classy. You know, it's understated.
It definitely shows the product off.
Yeah, it does in fairness. I mean, it's not a bad box at all for that. In fact, arguably that's better than the new box for that.
Possibly.
It definitely shows
that's more plastic, though. I suspect the new one's less plastic, which might be a thing.
The new ones, they've got rid of the plastic window. Which some of them had corners missing. So sort of like from there across to here, they were missing. So you couldn't stack the boxes up on top of each other.
So if it's not if the new packaging's got no plastic window, are the contents exposed?
No, they had a plastic. They had a sort of vacuum form plastic on them, didn't they?
Right.
The latest ones, the items have been exposed.
Right.
But yeah, some of them did still have sort of like the Daleks stuck onto a piece of cardboard with a blister.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was still plastic involved. But more recently, they've had just being able to touch the toy, which I don't like.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's brave of them.
All right, we'll bring these back up again.
God, I remember when I used to get Imaginext stuff for my son. It was like Fort Knox getting those off the cards. They had those little plastic ties on them that you had to sort of,
Yes, I know which ones you mean.
you know.
Yeah.
That was,
But no, I do have to say I really like this packaging. But again, we've gone to a blister over the figures.
yes, that's what I was going by. I was going by that one. The
Got a
blister,
blister
yeah.
over the figures. So yeah, they've announced this, which is at long last from the Five Doctors story when poor William Hartnell was he'd left us, so they had to get another actor in to play the part. So it's a new head sculpt altogether, and his outfit is a little different.
New head sculpt.
It's a new head sculpt, and it's a little bit different in the costume as well. So, and then you've got a Dalek, which you will think it looks similar. It's got brand new dome lights. It's got an extra piece of plastic added below the neck section because this particular one was the first one where they were slightly taller. And I think this is the first one where the black elements are a gloss black. So you've got matte and gloss together.
Well, you've got Matt Goss. What is it? Member of Bros, is it?
Yes.
It is a nice looking Dalek. It's a nice looking Dalek.
It only appeared in one episode, though, very, very briefly as well.
Right.
Very briefly.
But that new packaging, though, just scrolling down, look at that new packaging. To me, I mean, to me, it's a waste of time, is that? They might as well just be selling them on a blister card.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You know.
I think they're trying to continue the shape and size of the packaging. As you can see, this is number 13 of the History of the Daleks set. So they're probably trying to finish off these sets in the same size packaging, although they've changed the artwork drastically.
It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? That because in terms of if you're a shop trying to present them, is it preferable? And Gareth, I dare say you might have a view on this. Is it preferable to be able to present a wall of boxes versus stacking, X number of blister cards, X number deep, and sort of trying to form a sort of a visual presentation like that? Or do they just become a bit lost if you're putting other things on the same rack? I don't know. I can see that. I mean, the problem with those is presumably you can't get as many into the same volume as you could cards.
No, you couldn't because the boxes are wider. But you have got the fact that it's B&M, and it's literally a case of they want them to be straight out on the shelves as quick as possible, so they can be back on the shelves. Yeah, the staff need to be moving on to something else.
Yeah, it's the stack it high, sell cheap mentality.
Yeah.
But then again, Andy, if you think back, like when we were young kids, majority of toys were on a blister card, and the toy shelves would just be absolutely full of toys, just rammed. Yeah, and it were all like blistering. Like I can remember a local toy master, and also there used to be a toy shop. Well, it wasn't predominantly a toy shop, but it did have a toy department. There was a toy shop called JB's, and that were just a whole run, and it were just carded figures on there, like Star Wars stuff and things like that.
Well, that's it. I think for action figures, that was definitely the predominant thing. But I suppose when you think about the Transformers line, as soon as you got past the mini-bots were carded, weren't they? But then as soon as you got any bigger than that, you were into boxes.
You were, but I mean, in all fairness, I mean, you could. I think the Autobot cars certainly could have been carded on a blister.
Mhm.
Could the Autobot cars? It would have had to have been a thicker, more sturdier blister. But I think you probably could have got away. I mean, you look at G2, the G2 line. They did start it wasn't a card blister, but it was like a plastic clam blister that
Yeah.
they put the cars and the jets on. So it would have been possible. But like I say, I think if they had have done it, may have lost something in the presentation. Yeah. And maybe that's what, like I said, that again, this is probably something Gareth can speak more intelligently about, but maybe that's why a lot of toy companies now do boxed items rather than blister carded items, because maybe you get a better presentation for it.
There's an interesting question from Facebook chat, I believe, from Pete Fisher.
Yeah, I've just seen that. I'm going to go through and just point out we've had some hellos.
Hello.
Benjamin, we've got Connor, we've got Josh, and Benjamin says hello again. One of us had a very good point at some time here. Lobot's chapped in to say hello, and they're saying hello amongst themselves. But yes, Peter Fisher has come up with a great question here. I'm assuming then that you're US based for you to be asking a question like this. So with the figures, I see the word store exclusive. Does that mean that if you are a fan from any other place than Great Britain, not only will shipping be expensive, true, but scalper rates will be at a premium, most likely. But you've got to remember, if you're buying them from wherever it is you're going to be buying from outside the UK, those scalpers will have probably paid scalper prices because they won't have been able to get them from B&M themselves. I get the British institution thing, but why is Character Options willing to let so much revenue go when there are other countries interested? Or may I be wrong, and that store exclusive could also mean some sort of online availability that would at least eliminate a scalper price? I'm going to take that off just because we can't see Andy, but if I need to put it back up again, we will do. No, it's a damn good question there. And the British institution thing, yeah, this is one that the Doctor Who classic line, admittedly, is a little bit precious to me. And we did go through a phase in the UK where the sales of classic figures from Character weren't huge. And so they stopped releasing them in the UK, but they did continue to release them in the States. And Forbidden Planet, as I mentioned earlier, they imported them in order to have them over here. And they were an extremely high price, considering how much they had been prior to that. And it always bugged me so much that the UK, which you've said it yourself in that question, Doctor Who's a British institution, and these things were not available in the country that it originated from, and that was always a massive bugbear to me, and I hated the fact that we couldn't get them over here. It's like, America, you've got your G.I. Joe, you've got your Transformers, you've got all your other exclusives that are difficult and more expensive to get over here. Can't we have our own bloody Doctor Who?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, the UK and certain parts of Europe have been historically stuffed and screwed with regard to certain toy lines for decades.
Market.
I mean, you go back to the 80s, and there were specific, G.I. Joe figures that weren't available here. There were certainly specific Transformers that weren't available here. Just things like Swoop. Devastator,
Omega Supreme.
Omega Supreme, Shockwave, the Reflector, so key characters that just weren't available because they weren't brought to this region, so it's, I think in the history of toys, I think probably, there probably are other countries that's had it worse than us, but I think, if you talk about the US versus UK thing, I think we've been royally screwed over the years with availability of toys and distribution as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to intellectual property rights, because if they need to be manufactured locally, then each manufacturer in each location has got to get a license to reproduce the Doctor Who trademark, the designs for the Daleks, all of that good stuff has to be repeated in each geographical location. So each manufacturer is going to have to make a decision as to whether or not they can turn a profit on the basis of the cost of the license in the first place, and can they do a deal. So if for some reason the geographical location doesn't get a manufacturer producing locally, then it's down to a question of, can a distributor get a license or an agreement with someone else to import it into that country and resell it and become a reseller at that point. So there's all sorts of legal shenanigans and import costs and all that sort of good stuff involved with it. And we may find that due to good old Brexit, we could become potentially more isolated, because we'll be treated as an entirely distinct geographical location. But as Edward was saying, we've had that in the past, because in the past, Europe hasn't been treated as a complete whole. We've been treated as Great Britain as an individual element of it. So,
did you just call me Edward?
No, Ed, I said.
Oh, I thought you said Edward. Who's Edward?
Check your birth certificate, you might find out.
I don't think I did. Just be beer talking, I don't know.
But as it's as this one, going back to what Pete said, as it's a store exclusive, yes, it should mean that there'd be some sort of online availability potentially at a later date. But B&M have been putting these out now for a considerable amount of years, and as yet, none of them have appeared anywhere else at all.
So they've not been online then as well? Or...
No, they haven't been online, no.
Oh, so they really mean store exclusive then? They mean physical store exclusive?
Yes.
That's quite clever,
No. Apologies. Some of them have appeared on the B&M website.
Okay.
Yeah. But none have been offered outside of the UK.
Yeah. So then, as I was going to say, because then it just depends what the shipping is like from the website, because maybe they're not allowed to do that, because again they're trying to fence off the various geographical locales, so they're not actually allowed to sell them outside the territory. That's often the way, I suppose. They'll have limitations on what they can and can't do in order to get the stock in, basically, in the first place. So yeah, interesting.
So anyway, I think this one's been up on the screen for long enough now. I'm going to throw up the next one, which it's another little bugbear for me. These look fantastic, but it bugs me that this is History of the Daleks set 14. There's another story in between this one and the one we've just shown you, and they haven't made any figures for that. You would have expected that to be 14 and this one to be 15. So little tiny gripe there. But again, they've added these little spaces underneath. They've got new lights or new paint jobs on the lights and new eye stalks as well.
Oh.
They're a pretty set of these. They're a very, very pretty set.
They look like they could be Christmas decorations.
Well, a little bit big. A little bit big for that.
A little bit big.
A little bit big, yeah. It's disappeared.
I'm here, don't worry.
Oh, we can hear you tinkering.
Disembodied Ed.
Well, I was just getting something because I just remembered something I'd said last time, the other fortnight when we were on. So I was just pulling something
He's going to show us something.
Cool.
Right, yeah. Those are the Sylvester McCoy ones, aren't they?
No.
No? Are they not?
No.
These are the Colin Baker ones.
Are they?
The Sylvester McCoy ones are the same colour scheme, but there is a slight difference. And they'll probably be announcing them in another month or so, because they'll be in the next drop after this one.
So what did they have extra nodules on or something, or an extra?
Right, this section with the slats, be very different on the Sylvester McCoy ones, because these ones are still like the traditional ones where you have some wire mesh and then slats screwed or nailed on the top of them, whereas the Sylvester McCoy ones, it's a fiberglass mold all the way around.
Right, so quick question. When they were making the different series of classic Doctor Who, did no one think, right, we better make the Daleks look like they did previously, because we're just making loads of different Daleks and it's costing us loads of money to keep making them different. Why don't we just make them all the bloody same?
Well, essentially, they were all the same. But by the time we got to this particular story, the props were so badly beaten up that they just couldn't keep using them.
Right.
And for the next story, they needed to make more. And that happened a few times throughout the show's history, that they had to keep either making the top halves or adding the hemispheres on the bottom of them or changing appendages or something. They always needed tweaking in some way. And by the time you got to the Sylvester McCoy one, rather than making everything out of scratch, they just made something that they could put in a mould and make a few of. And they're a lot lighter. And if you watch the episode, you can see that they actually wobble quite a bit because they're so much lighter, and the wheels that they're on had a lot more air in them, so they were a little bit more bouncy.
Yeah.
Would you like to? By complete coincidence, literally, would you like to see a modern fan-made Dalek? Because I saw this over the weekend.
All right, go on then.
I don't know if this will show up very well, but see that?
All right, okay.
So that's actually got a sort of four-wheel electric.
I tell you what,
in the bottom
send that to me.
I will ping it to you, sir.
Send it over to me, and I'll try and bring it up on the screen if I can figure out how. The plunger on the Sylvester McCoy's one was gold. The eye stick was gold, and it had brand new ear lights, as well as a couple of other little tweaks and differences. But it was supposed to be this. And you've got to bear in mind as well, when the BBC was making these shows, they weren't expecting people like me to be going, oh, that's a different prop than what was in the last serial that we saw 2 years ago.
Yeah, there's always been people like that about.
There have always been people like that about, but I'm fairly sure that they expected that we were still laughing at things like this.
That is enterprising.
Is that Baracafalatalata or whatever they call him?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, I know. Before I get Doctor Who fans screaming at their monitors at me.
Save. Done. That one. Save. Oh, that's a shoddy one.
It's a shawaddy waddy.
Yeah, shawaddy waddy one.
The greatest spotted shawaddy waddy from Beetlejuice 5.
Yeah. That's those ones. That's all of the Dalek sets. But there's also coming up this set where we get Colin Baker in
his
an entirely different costume. And this is supposed to be the costume that he wore, or as close to it as they could do, in the live stage play.
Oh, okay.
And I actually like that they're going that deep into it. People have made customs of this figure in the past. They must be very, very patient to be able to paint those lines on by hand. But yeah. And if anyone's watching that's more interested in this, by all means, click on this guy's video. He's the guy who's designed and sculpted and whatever else most of these figures, and made the decisions on what it is they're doing. He works at character, and every time they do a drop, he always does a video explaining why they made decisions that they have and whatever. Because this TARDIS isn't exactly perfect, but he explains why. And yeah,
well, that's honest. If nothing
yeah,
else,
always makes for a good video.
is that the spaceship they came down in? That one that's to his right?
Yes,
on the
it
deck?
is, and that particular image is very, very teasing.
Oh right, yeah. I was going to say
very, very teasing.
thing,
Because
then, yeah.
the next History of the Daleks sets, if this one's Revelation of the Daleks, we've missed Resurrection for some bizarre reason, which was the Peter Davison story. But the next one after Revelation would be Remembrance, which is what all of those come from. And you just know there's going to be a clamouring of people. It's like, are we going to be getting a modular spaceship that we can click together? So it was my first thought.
Yeah.
It really was my first thought. Right, have I got these pictures up on my computer yet? I have. Right, okay then. Presents. Slides? Is that how you do it? From my computer. Upload file. Oh, I think I'm learning. Invalid file type.
Really?
Really? There is... Oh, could I do it that way? I never thought of doing it this way, but I could do it this way. Don't necessarily...
If you can do a browser window, you could just load them into a browser, couldn't you?
I don't know how to do that, but I can. I've opened up your message on another window. I can present that. Which is here.
There we are.
There we go.
So this chap's on Facebook apparently. It's called Dalek20. So he's got like an electric wheelchair type setup inside there that he can sit in, and he can see out of the mesh at the top. And he's using sort of like a mobile phone camera and stuff, so you can see behind him when he's going backwards. Because this thing shifts. It shifts because it's got four wheels. So he was going over all sorts of terrain because the bottom phalange bit is actually rubber.
Yeah.
So it can take knocks, so it'll shift with the terrain.
Is
So
that that looks like a Peter Cushing one, does that? Is that like an Invasion of Earth one?
It is.
It was, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So 1965, I think, was it?
Because it looks, I mean, it might be the photo, but it looks narrow.
Yeah. That's what I mean when I said it looks shoddy. It's. Ugh.
I think he's had to do the best he could with the base that he had to use, basically. So that's why he
Fair enough.
that approach. There's the other ones in the background there. Can you see? I think that was static, but
just about. Let's see if I can present the things that Ed sent me over. We currently support Google Slides, PowerPoint, and PDF. Okay.
So it's expecting proper slides, isn't it? It's expecting slideshow format then.
Yeah, probably.
But this was at Cromford Mills, by the way, if you're wondering. It's in Derbyshire.
Yeah, it won't let me upload them. It's a shame. It's funny that you should send me these pictures because these are actually made by... Well, the first one you sent, Ed, is by the guy who built mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
I'm trying to think how I could possibly get this up on screen then.
Just download the photos onto your desktop.
Yeah, but it won't let me add them. Well, it won't let me present them anyway. Is there any other way that I can do it? Extra camera video file. Yeah. Branding. Oh. Sorry, I'm ignoring comments, aren't I? I do apologise, guys. We have a please God no. I'm not sure what that's referring to.
I think that was referring to the Doctor Who costumes colours.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Any dream will do. Yes, fair enough. Can I add it? I can add video clips.
What file format are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to put the files up that Eddie sent me. I don't know what they are. They're just
They're on-
photos.
They're on JPEGs.
Oh, can you not do file open with and then just send it to a? Are you on a Mac?
I'm on a Mac, yes.
Ah, right. Okay. Interesting.
How about... Tell you what, you two talk about amongst yourselves for a minute.
I'll do a show and tell, shall I?
Yeah, you do a show and tell. That sounds like a cracking idea, does that?
Behold my mighty imagination gun.
I've
Is
seen
it-
this video.
You see the video of that? This is my Toytronic Phase 4 electronic rifle. Laser rifle, even. It does this. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for the audience participation. So this I had when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and it was my sort of go-to laser gun for school plays and all sorts of stuff. And it's taken me a solid sort of couple of months of very, very persistent eBay searching to eventually come up with one for sale. I'd seen one sold on Etsy, but actually finding it in real life again was a so-and-so. Slightly yellowed, but otherwise in very, very good nick. And it's just I'm sure it's nothing special whatsoever. It's just one of those things that I remember very, very clearly from my childhood. So, you know, it was one of my sort of things to find that popped into my head one day. And you just use this dial on the side to adjust what level of sort of megadeth you want to deliver, basically. And how much you want to irritate your parents rapidly. So yeah, that was quite a nice find, because it was a case of persistence paying off on that occasion. So
Oh, I might have done something wrong here.
I can keep stalling if you like.
Oh, no, what I've done is I've just put the videos, the images into my video editor and just turned it into a video. And then
Okay.
hopefully I can upload that.
You see, if you ticked the boxes that allowed us, we could actually just show them ourselves.
What boxes?
It's on the stream settings. You know, before you go on the stream, the settings where the people that are on there can actually show and like screen share and stuff.
You've told me this before, but whenever I've seen
Maybe we need a more enhanced version of it. I can show you another thing I picked up over the weekend on the Saturday. Now, one of you might be able to immediately tell me what the proper... I think this has got a short name, but I got one of these. I always press the wrong thing for that.
I can't remember what it's called. Is it?
Imperial Shuttle, basically.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's got a proper little short name, because what were they called, this series of the toys?
Mini rigs.
Mini rigs. Thank you. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the official term or if that's just a fan coined term.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because there was a whole range of these that were sort of more affordable than most. But I thought this was quite a nice example, because it's still got the stickers on the
Yeah, ISP6 it's called.
What?
ISP6.
ISP6. I knew it was a number and 3 letters. I couldn't remember what it was.
My favourite were always INT4.
INT4. Was that the dark one that looks a little bit like K9?
Yeah, it went in the ATAT.
Oh, yes. Yes, it did, didn't it? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I suspect this one probably would as well when you fold its wings up.
It's possible. Yeah, it could do, yeah.
Maybe. Possible.
Yeah. And then there were Cap 2, which was like, you just put Bosk in that. Bosk went in Cap 2. Int 4 were just like usually a TIE pilot or something like that, or a snow trooper.
But it's quite clever, because I mean, you only actually need sort of 2 fingers to be able to just fly it around.
Yeah.
But it also means if you use your imagination, it's also a Battlestar Galactica Viper.
Yeah.
Pretty much, isn't it? You know. So it could be any number of things if you want it to be. That's the thing. That's what I quite like about it. It's not so Star Warsy that it's not.
I've got 2 of them there.
2
yeah.
what?
Oh yeah. So he has.
No. What you've got there behind her is the Mysterons.
Yeah. It's either that or he thinks he's the Saint. One of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they are. Look.
Two of them.
That's 50% of the world's population in it on one YouTube video. Because they're actually quite hard to get properly intact. From the auctions I've seen, they're relatively unusual to get nice, fully featured ones. So I was quite pleased when I tripped across that.
Yeah.
If this fin is designed to slide off, it probably is, isn't it? This top fin. I'm not going to try it. I'll just break it. Give them my luck, but well, I do love the. I mean, I'd sort of forgotten. I think how much detailing there actually is just on the sort of the skin of it. It's not just kind of plain plastic. They could have just done that, but actually, there's quite a lot of. I mean, I'd hesitate to call it greebling, but there is at least a little bit of effort gone into the the detail, the surface detail on it.
I can put these pictures up now as a little mini video.
Cool.
Right.
Oh, hang on, can I?
It's got good stickers as well.
Yeah.
Also cockpit stickers and stuff. So fair dues to them. Oh, Kenna.
Have I got too many videos on here? Delete that one and then it might let me put this one up.
Just got this price stick on. That's no good.
Is it there? Processing.
It's better.
Come on. It takes longer than what it says, but no. What, were you showing something else, or was it just the Imperial shuttle?
I was showing my gun, but you said you'd already seen that.
Oh, you've got. Yes, I watched the video of that. Yes.
And basically, I can just basically repeat the contents of the video that I did earlier on today.
I'll show you this then. This came today.
You said something, Ed.
I got that.
Bumblebee.
That arrived today,
Very cool.
which is MP45 Masterpiece Bumblebee knockoff. This is not an official Hasbro. Sorry, Takara. It's a KO version.
Is it a KO of a masterpiece or a masterpiece?
Yeah. No, it's a knockoff of a Masterpiece figure.
Right,
Good
okay.
lord, is that the thing?
So there is an official version of that then.
There's an official version of that.
Wow,
The official
Lord.
version of that at the moment, you'd be lucky if you find one under £100.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
which is absolutely stupid. Yeah. So I waited for the KO to come. Well, there's been a couple of knockoffs of this, but I waited so long for him to do a good one. And like I said, this has arrived today, and it's absolutely solid. I can't find any fault with it at all. The joints are stiff and tight. It transforms well. It holds its poses. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot going off there. There's a lot going off there.
You
At the
don't
back.
do product placement here.
It's what?
Him not doing product placement, he says.
Who's doing product placement?
Not me.
You are. You're hijacking my
I have no
show.
idea what you're talking about.
Other Coca-Cola brands are available.
So, yeah. There we go.
But I have to say,
Fantastic.
it's really
So-
nice. It's really nice, is that, Ed?
What?
It's really nice, is that?
It's all right. It's
In fact, I'd go as far as to say
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, that's from that film that you don't like.
RoboCop.
I never said I don't like it.
You did say you
I
didn't
just
like
think
it.
it's overrated.
No. I have witnesses that say that you didn't like it. But anyway, so that was the previous version of MP Bumblebee.
Okay.
So they've tried to make it, more in line with how he looks in the cartoon
Wow.
as opposed to.
I prefer
Yeah.
I prefer the fat one.
You prefer the fat one.
I prefer the fat one.
There's things to like and dislike in both. To be fair, I prefer the more svelte approach of that,
Fair enough.
but that has a better vehicle mode.
Ah, that's
You
yeah.
see
I was
that?
gonna say.
So like that one is it's more like a real world Volkswagen Beetle when it's transformed. It's like it's got real world proportions, whereas that what they've gone for because they've gone for the cartoon accuracy, it looks like a penny racer when it's transformed. so it's like it's quite super deformed when it's
See,
in vehicle mode.
That's
When I say
original
super
toy like
deformed, I don't mean like a superhero, like
Yeah, but wasn't the original toy like that?
They what? Sorry.
The original toy was a bit like
It
that.
was, yes. The original Bumblebee toy was based on like the old Penny Racer.
That's
cars.
so weird. That's so weird how that's worked out then.
Well, no, because I mean
Yeah,
the cartoon,
if you
the
look at them,
cartoon
you've
is
got
based
one-
off the toy.
Yeah, but you've got one that looks more like a toy,
Mm.
but the vehicle looks nothing like the toy that the vehicle would have been, and it looks more realistic. And then you've got the other one that looks more like a thing from the cartoon, but when you transform it, it
well,
doesn't that way.
but isn't this what the modern ones now try and do because they're that much more complex? Because they've got so many. I mean, I've tried some of the modern ones. And I just find them completely inaccessible to aging figures and aging eyesight because there's so much to do with them. But I guess it does allow you to get closer as between vehicles and robot forms because you can get that much more detailing and changeability into them these days. I guess I don't know.
I mean,
but...
the thing with the current Masterpiece line, certainly from Takara anyway, is that they are going for the really pushing hard, the really leaning hard into like the animation aesthetic. You know, the wanting to make them look as much like they do in the cartoon as possible, which is fair enough if you like that kind of thing. Personally, I don't. If I want a Masterpiece figure, I want it to be an amalgamation of all the inspiration. So a little bit of the characteristics from the cartoon, from the toy, etc., things like that, and also maybe a little bit of real world as well in there. I want it to actually look like a robot, and a vehicle, rather than it just looking like a bland chunk of plastic, which I think a lot of the Masterpiece figures now are starting to do. There's very little. There's no greeblies on them, shall we say? There's very little detailing to them.
That's the flip side, isn't it? Because in the cartoons, of course, they were always very smooth for ease of animation. So
yeah.
At least in the
So
80s versions, obviously. I mean,
but unfortunately, because that seems to be the way they're going with it, it kind of, that's the kind of route that you push down. Although that said, I did get one. Was it 2 weeks ago? I think it arrived just after we did the last episode. I'll just go get it. It's just over here.
We're also well prepared tonight, aren't we? Well, you are at least, Andy.
well, I've got something that's kind of pertinent to this conversation we've just had, but I'll wait till Ed comes back.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, it's because I didn't expect really to be doing a show and tell.
I thought we always did show and tell. I thought that was the thing.
Well, not really, no, because he's advertised this one as a, make it up as we go along kind of thing.
Meandering, but it does say that we might do show and tell if you want to do
Que
show and
sera.
tell.
So yeah, this one, X-Transbots, Fiovaranti, which is a Masterpiece version of one of the Omnibots called Overdrive.
Right.
Which was... There were 3 Omnibots that came out in 80... I think it was either very late 84 or early 85, and it was to basically bolster the initial G1 toy line, to like get more product out there on the shelf.
Right.
But they did them as a mail away, and they were labelled as the reinforcements from Cybertron, so you could save up your robot points and send in a postal order, and you get these. However, that was only in America. They were never available here in the UK.
Right, I've not heard of them. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so I'd heard of them as a kid and seen pictures and stuff, but obviously they were never available. So this, I'm not going to transform it because, we haven't got the time. But that is Fioravanti. And that is a very nice Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is beautiful. Die-cast wheels with rubber tyres, which is always a bonus for me. I like that in a masterpiece. Rubber tyres, it's got to have rubber tyres. And it's triple shader as well.
I remember when Transformers themselves actually had rubber tyres.
I've got a Sideswipe downstairs, I think, which has probably got decent tyres on it, I think.
Yeah, the original G1 toy line, the early ones, that were ported over from the Diaclone molds. The majority of them had rubber tyres. But then post '86, when they started designing all their own stuff, there weren't many that did. They had a few that had rubber tyres, but then again, actually, you see that kind of feeds into what Pete was saying earlier on about your markets and your territories. Over in the States, if you bought Ultra Magnus, the combined form, the face came with a painted face. It had rubber tyres and it had plastic windows in the cab section. Over here in the UK, no paint on the face, solid plastic wheels, no plastic window in the cab. So it was really sort of like cut back and basic. So there were some variations there, and then another two that came. These were for the money that you pay for these and the playability and shelf presence on them. They're amazing. These are from a company called Mod Fans, and basically what they've done is they've taken Roller, that is the vehicle that's in the back of Optimus Prime, and they've made it into a transforming character. It's nothing new. We've had comics and things like that. IDW have done it where Roller is a transformer. Transforms. But these things, there's die-cast in them, there's bags of articulation, and there's a lot of shelf presence on them. This is the silver version.
That's pretty. Yeah.
So that's based off Convoy, as he was called in Japan. So Optimus Prime in Japan called Convoy, and he came with the silver Roller. So that's the silver version. Like I said, die-cast, there's great articulation, transforms well, and it's just a fun little bot. It's just really fun. And that, believe it or not, is the same price as a Black Series figure. Yeah.
25 quid.
Yeah, £25, same as a Black Series figure. And, it's just like, why wouldn't you? It's just a great thing. And it's the same size as a Black Series, 6-inch. Same size. And then the other one is the blue version. There is a third one coming out, which is the IDW Comics colours. So it's like a green, orange, and like is it a teal? I want to say teal, or maybe like a cream. But then that's the blue version. So the Roller that would be in with Optimus Prime.
That looks more like an Ultra Magnus version.
Yeah. There is that. Yeah. So those are them two. I must admit, I prefer the silver one. I do prefer the silver one. I mean, they're both. Aside from the color differences, they're identical. Yeah, but the silver one I think just looks a lot better.
I've got these Dalek figures pictures that you sent me. If you want to have a look.
Oh, have you got them? Yeah. Throw them up. Yeah.
Wow.
It's supposed to be the last one. Don't know why that's showing now, but that's the guy in the red there who made my Dalek. And after he made my Dalek, he made this one, which
that was made for you, was it?
It was made especially for me. Yes.
Wow.
That's the Dalek if you order it from Wish.
Yeah. Interesting.
You get to see it from a different angle here. And you may be concerned that I'm putting up photos of people's children. These photos were taken several years ago now, so they're no longer children.
Yeah, that would have been. Oh God, how long would that? That's got to be over 15 years ago. Is that?
Yeah, because well, he
No.
hasn't even had that Dalek now, that big storm. He hasn't had that for a good 12 years.
Yeah.
And he painted it a horrible shade of gold after that black, and he had it for a couple of years then. So, yeah. These kids no longer exist as kids.
Painted it gold.
Yeah, he was hoping to sell it to the BBC so that they would put it in. Well, not sell it, but he was hoping to rent it to the BBC. I don't know why these pictures are showing up in different orders. This is weird.
Well, that's Sec, isn't it? Dalek Sec.
It is, yes. Yeah.
I've still got the big remote control one of that. Sorry, radio control, not remote. Showing me age there.
We know what you meant.
I think they were sold as remotes, to be honest with you.
Well, they're sold as remote control.
Yeah, I think they were sold as remote controls.
Well, I always check for wires when something says it's remote control because I think they're
Why? Yes. Interestingly, this big bugger, and it is big, those cannons on the side of it actually fire jets of water. And when I say jets, I mean jets to the point where they hit. He had them in his garden hitting the house across the street.
Wow. Crowd control Dalek, clearly.
Yeah.
Super Soaker.
That's one hell of a range on that Dalek.
So just popping back to what we were saying before about the Transformers and
Sorry.
you know sort of, no versus sort of cartoon versus toy.
Yeah.
Gareth may have seen this already, but I randomly landed myself over the weekend. I was staying in a place I'd never stayed before, and literally less than a block away from me was a retro store. And
You vile betrayer.
yes, I know, but it was actually many records. It wasn't toys. But so I went through the front door, closed it behind me, and went. And hanging on the back of the front door was this, and I've never actually owned this before. This is issue 1 of the UK Transformers comic, which was fortnightly at this point in time. And it's interesting because I think if you can make it out, you see that Optimus's arm isn't quite solid there, and his head isn't quite a normal kind of comic cartoony Optimus head, and neither is Soundwave's, and that's because at that point in time, you can even see that Soundwave's got the little slider on his arm for his face. And that's because at that point in time, obviously, they hadn't quite arrived at how to display them as comic/cartoon versions. They hadn't really adapted them at that point. So, and weirdly, that's Soundwave versus Optimus, which, as I said on that video, is kind of an odd grappling pair because normally it would always be Megatron versus Optimus in the comics traditionally. So I just thought that was really nice. I haven't even opened this up yet properly to see if the poster's still in there, for example. I've no idea if it is.
Just lift it up a bit higher because your name is getting in the way of it.
Is that better?
Just turn it round. Let's have a look at the back. Is it
in a separate bag? Let me get it out. Hang on. I hate when people put sellotape on these things because the odds are your comics are going to catch it when you pull it out. Clearly a case where I should have done a Blue Peter. There we go.
You mean you don't have one that you prepared earlier?
Indeed.
right?
That's some sort of dog food ad. I can't really see it from my angle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So has it got the action transfers in as well and the poster?
I'm just having. I literally haven't opened it. So, it's been written on. Boo.
Oh.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't pay through the nose for it, so I'm not. I mean, he did say it was as it was, you know. Yeah, so it's a little bit wrecked. It looks like someone's cut something out of it.
That's sad.
Wow, which is naughty.
It's because back in the day we read and played with things as they should be, not
That's quite nice for our purposes. That advert.
Yeah, and if you notice, the on there was still being advertised as Warrior robots.
Warrior robots, yes, and on
Yeah,
the front cover of the
That was dropped. The Warrior part was dropped.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not. It's basically it's a partial reprint of issue 1 from the US comic. Is
the
that?
US, yeah, and it's got Machine Man in it as a backup strip as well, which I've always remembered Machine Man being in there. There's a robot roundup in the back.
Yeah, Robot Roundup. Yeah.
First appeared, I believe, in the 2001 A Space Odyssey comics as well, did Machine Man.
And that was sort of the general kind of offers page, but looks like the poster's long since vanished from this rather battered issue. But there you go.
Yeah, is that the Designer Decepticon?
Transformers Data Bank coming in. Transformers issue 2, plus an Autobot poster.
Right, just out of interest for the Doctor Who fans, the artist that did the cover on that was a chap called Jerry Paris, and he also did artwork for Doctor Who comics.
Okay. The Marvel ones, obviously.
I'm assuming so. It'd be in the UK ones because that
Marvel UK.
that cover is a UK piece of artwork, for that printing.
I wonder what somebody cut out of that page. It's quite interesting, though, isn't it? Because that's got the
it's Jazz.
Kryptonian form.
It was a picture of the Jazz toy in robot mode and vehicle mode.
And that's why somebody's nabbed it.
And it was a competition to spot. It was spot the difference competition to win a Jazz toy. There's if you look at my Instagram feed, you will see the advert.
Yes, properly.
I have that very issue.
Yes.
Let's see if I can find it for you.
Oh, the post. It'll probably be quite a long way down my
It's going
feed.
to be a long way away, is it?
It's going to be a long way down, I reckon. Yeah.
Oh, right. Never mind then.
So I wouldn't. Yeah, it'll be far down. In
Fair
fact,
enough.
but then again, I could send you. Let me just have a look.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to post it.
Here we go again.
All right. I sent you one on Facebook. I sent you one on Facebook Messenger.
I'm going to say, if you
did,
send it on Messenger.
Do you want me to put that up? It might display your name.
All right, can't you just crop that out? Can't you just show the? I'll WhatsApp it you then.
No, even then, I can't actually. It doesn't show your name on it. So yeah, I can do if you like.
Right, so chill. It just ties in. You know, the other week, Andy, we were the show and tell, and I showed you that little petrol pump.
Yeah.
That's the garage that it's from.
Oh yes, okay.
So you can just see them faintly down the bottom part there. Well, that garage, that car garage thing, my dad made that for me.
Wow.
And like I said, so I can't really tell what vehicles. I think one of the vehicles on there is one of the Micronaut, that one that's near me hand.
Oh, really?
I think, yeah, that one there, Gareth, with the blue top and the white and blue. I think that's the Micronaut Proton Sled or something like that, I think they called it. I'm not right sure. It is a bit blurry. Let me see if I can see on the actual... but yeah, that's probably 1970 at some point.
So how did you get Micronaut then? Were they generally on sale here at one point?
Yeah, Dennis Fisher.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dennis Fisher were doing them. Yeah.
And once again, I would like to point out that showing a picture of a child on this channel, this child is no longer a child. It certainly is.
But I'm loving those dungarees.
Oh, they're awesome. I had a pair as well. Probably 10 years after this, but I had a pair.
It might even be bloody 15 years after that, Gareth.
I don't know. You are about 10 years older than me, aren't you? Sorry.
Yeah, 10, yeah. Oh, no, it's not. It's some kind of Right, I think I know what that is. It's still quite blurred, but I'm zooming in on the original photo. I think it's an Evel Knievel dragster.
I'm going to say it looks like a dragster to me.
Yeah, I think it's an Evel Knievel dragster because I had a couple of Evel Knievel diecast cars. There was like one that was, what would it call? Is it a funny racer or something like that, or funny? And it was like, it looked like a stock car, and it lifted up. Did the whole part of the car show the engine and stuff inside?
Yeah.
It's
The
cheeky grin that I like. I think that's What's happened to it?
Oh God, it just grew old and jaded. And just at the top, you see that top shelf?
Yeah, with a little bit of yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that. I keep looking for one of them. It's probably about so big. And it was a translucent plastic helicopter.
All right.
And it was like clockwork. And when you turned it in, you could saw all the gears and cogs moving inside it.
All right.
I know what you mean.
It's what?
I know what you mean.
So the front part of the cockpit was yellow with like black windows, but the back section of it was like a translucent orange.
Right.
Oh.
And then, like I say, it had all this clockwork inside, and then like the rotors would go around, and you could see all the cogs moving about and that.
They had some similar toys when I were a kid.
Hmm.
They were clear translucent rather than being a coloured translucent.
Yeah.
The cogs and everything inside were brightly coloured.
Right.
And it'd be like a friction-powered train or a friction-powered truck. And as you push it forward and keep going, you could see the cogs and everything going round.
Yeah. Well, I think
cool.
I'm sure that had like blue cogs and white cogs, red cogs, and like that. But
Similar thing then, yeah.
yeah, you wound it up, and it used to trundle across the floor with the rotor spinning round and that. But yeah, I used to have quite a lot, and there was another helicopter I had, which was I forget who made it now. Yes, thank you, Benjamin. Yes, egg with hair. I used to have lovely hair. It was a over in America they call it a Sikorsky, but over here it's called a Sea King helicopter.
Yeah.
And it was die-cast, probably about so long. And it used to take one AAA battery in it. And it was like two-tone, white at top, blue at bottom. And that used to have a spinning rotor, but it also had like a cable that came out of the bottom as well. And it would like winch up.
See, I was going to say Dinky, but then I don't think Dinky ever went as far as having motorized stuff in them.
Yeah. I'll let me see if I can...
Fisher Price have done motorized stuff?
It's what, sorry?
Would Fisher Price have ever done motorized stuff? No, I don't mean Fisher Price. I mean Playmobil.
Hang on a second. Hello? Yeah, can I phone you back? All right, I'll speak to you in a bit. See you, bye. It's my back door, bitch. She keeps phoning, the most inappropriate time.
Like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I keep telling her, I said, don't phone me when wife's at home. It's not on.
This is where I need another video clip, Ed.
Why?
Biff from Back to the Future. Say hi to your mom for me.
Yeah.
I hope she's all right anyway. I hope she's well.
She's sound. She's sound.
How are you, sir?
Always look after your mum.
Yes.
Right, it is. That helicopter, it's a Dinky.
Oh, it's a Dinky, is it? Oh, it's Dinky.
Yeah, it's a Dinky 724. And it came with, of all things, it came with the re-entry module from the Apollo space rocket.
Now you've said it, I remember seeing that in the catalogue, yeah.
So you would like basically hold the helicopter, attach the hook to it, and it winch it up. Where is it? Yeah, that's the one there. Yeah, that's it.
I'm quick, aren't I?
Yeah, that's it there. That's the one.
I'm quick when I want to be anyway. And it's something that I can do.
I think, just go back again, Gareth. I think the one... No, that one where it's in like a bubble blister, I think that's the one that I had. It was that one.
Nice.
Because the reason why I remember that is because my Eagles from Space 1999 came on similar. Well, at least one of them did. I
Yeah,
think another one may have come with like a. Is it like a moonscape or something?
the oldest eagle that I've got came in one of those plastic bubbles, which I've still
Right.
got. But I think you're right. I think the later ones came in boxes with a sort of see-through frontage, and
Yeah.
they might well have had, because I've got was it the Zygon Patroller?
Hmm.
The very obscure dinky that came very late in the day, but they did like sort of boxes that you could make into kind of like landing pads and stuff for them.
Right.
So that was definitely a thing.
Yeah, because the
There we
the
are.
last the last one I got was the white one with like the hazardous goods barrels attachments,
Yes.
and that came in like
The
the window
freighter.
box. But I think that all over blister one, I think that it was the I was
Yeah.
just about to say it was either my green one or the blue one that I got in that kind of packaging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do miss them. Yeah, I had
I have
all
to
three.
say,
Yeah,
I prefer this packaging.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
do.
well, that's the packaging my white one came in. Is that?
I remember I have a very clear memory of seeing a blue one in that packaging that I didn't get at the time.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I've now got one, but I don't have the packaging for it. Yeah, like that.
That one or that one?
Yeah, well, this is the thing with Dinky. I mean, they do. But the thing is, people put them in different boxes as well. So I
Yes,
think you've got to be a little bit suspect, haven't you, about what's what, really?
But it's a lovely looking spacecraft.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Gap. This is pre-recorded.
We knew
It's
that
like
you were
that-
going to say that.
I
now.
had this ready because
Yeah.
we knew you were going to ask this question.
It's like that thing. It's like that thing that were on Simpsons where Homer does the voice for Poochie, and he says, "Is this cartoon going out live?" Alt toys, great, fantastic alt toys.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You see, that's the thing. I mean, I must admit, it would be very easy to start going down, trying to pick up that older stuff. Because there is a lot of, there's a. I know. I mean, but that's your jam, innit? I mean, it's. I've intentionally chosen a different route, but
This is
when,
marmalade.
when that nostalgia kicks in, it could be quite easy to just sort of like think, right, I'll just get that, or just get that, and it's a slippery slope.
But well, you see, you say that, but then this is an interesting one for conversation, perhaps, because I think my collection is a bit odd in the sense that I've got quite a few mini collections at this point, and they are sort of defined mini collections, if you like. So, like, I'm working at the moment, I suppose you say working. I've got like Corgi bat vehicles.
Yeah.
I think I'm just lacking the big bat copter now. And I didn't really sort of set out to do that. I've just kind of got bits and bats, pardon the pun, as I've been going along. So I've just kind of, those are just kind of accumulated slightly randomly, and I've now realised that's the only one that I haven't actually picked up along the way. So
that's the one. I had that one, the one where you get the copter, the Batmobile, and the bat boat.
That goes for a lot, surprisingly enough.
It's what?
That goes for quite a lot in a box, I believe now.
Oh right. Oh no, mine was played with. Like toys should be. It was well played with as a kid. That bat boat used to be in the bath with me.
Oh yeah, mine was as well, absolutely, and the smaller one.
Right.
There's a small. In fact, I think that's another thing I might be missing at the moment is the smaller bat boat.
Right.
I have to go and check that later, actually.
But I also had that the bat bike with the plastic Batman that sat on it.
I've got that without a Batman.
Right.
But
Right.
It was such a nice example of it. I couldn't not get it, and it was relatively reasonable. And again,
Yeah,
I got that at. I'm gonna get the wrong. What's the name of the toy fair near Doncaster?
Doncaster Toy Fair.
Yeah, but isn't there another one? I'm thinking of another
I
one.
don't know.
Another name for it. But anyway, yes. But I picked that up from down there.
But a question I want to ask you, you might know this because my memory's a bit fuzzy from time to time. I'm pretty sure I had one of those bikes where it had a Spider-Man on.
Wouldn't surprise me because they were both done by Corgi.
Yes, they did. They did the Spider-Man one of those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had a Spider because I do remember I had a Spider-Man helicopter as well. I had like a biggish one and then a smaller one.
There's definitely a small one. Yeah, I've got the small one.
I'm just quite loving this at the moment. From a Google search of Corgi Batman, we're getting cosmic toys.
Very
Hey,
Ha
winning hashtag.
But yeah,
I'm not plugging my business here at all, but look.
but yeah, that Batmobile that I had, I can remember when I lost the Robin out of it, and I was gutted, absolutely gutted.
So easy to do, though.
You know, my mum was saying, "Oh, it'll turn up," but it never did. I can remember for days afterwards, I went to the spot where I thought I'd lost it, and I was like pulling the carpet up, and I was like looking through stuff, and it just lost its time.
That's the little bat boat. Yeah, I'll have to have a hunt for that.
That's your little bat boat.
Yeah.
It's a long
That's
time
a cool
since
one.
I did have that. Back in my market days, long before I had the shop. Yeah. Didn't have the trailer though. Although, am I right in saying that the trailer is actually the same as what was used for several other sets?
It's possible.
Could be.
It's possible.
I've got the trailer for the big one, but not anything else.
And I know that if you look at it there, it's got like a gold trailer, and I'm sure that they use that with other sets.
Quite possible.
So I always quite like the Red Wheels one as well. That's
I thought there's a distinction between the one that has the red bat hubcap symbol on it and the ones that don't as well, because isn't that one more desirable?
I think the red bats were an earlier one.
Yeah, that on the right hand bottom there. Yeah.
Where? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, look, there's my Robin.
He's finally turned up.
Yeah, he's finally turned up.
There's 3 of them there in that picture.
Yeah.
That's just greedy, that.
But yeah, they're the more standardised ones.
I think
Well,
the missiles got stuck in the tubes of my original one from back in the day.
Well, I was just about to say, as a kid, what I used to do is, because I lost all the missiles, but I used to get toothpicks and snap toothpicks and put them in and fire them out.
Well, I know people always go on about using matches.
Right. Yeah, I
Makes
used to use
sense. Makes probably
toothpicks. Yeah.
sense. But I like the other detail I like about that Batmobile is the molded Batman on the underside.
Yeah.
Because that's like a classic 60s comic Batman, which is, and that's really cool. I love that. I love someone that had the thought process to actually think we're going to put a bat figure effectively on the underside of the Batmobile. I mean, completely pointless from a toy point of view, but it's a nice artistic touch.
Yeah. So
so many of those knocking around. My God, can you imagine how many of those they made?
What, the dinky cars?
Well, the Corgi Batmobiles.
Sorry, the Corgis.
Millions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that
makes
kind
it
of ties
really
back
about
into
it.
what we were saying earlier on about the, the prices of figures and sort of like people buying up and stuff like that. It's like, when people say, "Oh, this is a rare figure," it's not rare. It's just that what's rare about it is it's rare for them to come up for sale. There'll be millions of buggers.
Or maybe the condition is rare for its age. That sort of
or a particular condition, but the actual thing itself, it's like you say. I mean, an example I was speaking to Gareth about yesterday was the G.I. Joe classified line, and
He's lying. We do not talk outside of these streets.
It's just a case of cardboard cutout I've got, and I just talked to that. The classified Cobra infantry, yeah. Now, when that came out, I think it was before the price hike, so I think they were £21.99. Where now they're going for like £30-35. But then you've got the Cobra Island Trooper, which I think was 25, but that's now going for 60 plus. And it's like, it's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. And, you know, I think it's idiotic that a person would pay that for just that figure. Especially when you consider, right, there's this. This is one that actually came up the other day. This is a Cobra officer. And it's essentially the same figure as the Cobra Island Trooper. It's just that there's a bit of a paint variance. There's the cuff thing on the shoulder's black on this, but the Cobra Trooper is red. Oh, and he has like a neckerchief and a different gun, but it's essentially the same figure, yeah? So the Cobra Trooper one is 60 plus, yeah? At the moment, you can pick this up for £12. Yeah? And there's tons of
telling all my customers that.
from other retailers are available. But I'm just highlighting that price to show you the difference that you.
Cow's out of stock.
So it's like it's just ridiculous that the difference in price for something that's essentially the same. Yeah.
Mm.
Although, like I say, there's a certain section of the collecting world that like to be pedantic and, sort of like facetious and say, oh, well, no, it's not really the same because it's got this. It's like, oh, fuck off. It's like,
It is different. I mean, look, it shows you them there. He's got blue and grey on his harness, whereas his is all black. They're very different, Ed.
Yes, of course, they're very different.
And he's got darker toned skin on the tiny little bit of eyes, face that you can see.
Yes.
What he's got.
Oh, it's massively different, yes. Massively.
Different. It's as different as night and day.
Yeah. But so like I say, the infantry, so the trooper is like 60 plus, the infantry is about 30 plus. It's just like, but
I don't know. Through scarcity as well, though. They released more infantry than troopers and so on. I
think the Cobra Island Trooper was a special, but I think that there's plenty of that. It won't be a case of they've only made 1,000 of them. There'll be hundreds of thousands of them, yeah, perhaps millions of them, yeah. And same with the Trooper, there'll be millions of those as well. It's just that, like I say, it's not that they're scarce. It's just that the availability is scarce because there'll be collectors, sitting on probably 10 or 12 of the buggers, So I say, oh, well, I want multiples. I want my army building. I've got to have this. And it's like, oh, get bent, That's it. I don't have a problem with army building. Just like I've said previously, just let people wet the beak first. Let everyone have a chance of getting one, and then build your army afterwards. Look after your fellow collectors that you claim to say that you do on your groups.
Said if these toy manufacturers, we go back to what we were saying earlier, if these toy manufacturers put up pre-orders and actually followed the information that those pre-orders show, that they wouldn't have such a problem. But instead, they put them into production, they decide how many they're going to put up, then they put the pre-orders out to all the different distributors and companies, and the pre-orders come in, and it's like, oh, bugger, we're not going to have enough. We'll have to allocate. Well, what's the point in taking pre-orders if you are not going to make enough to cover the pre-orders?
Oh yeah, there's blame that can be apportioned on both sides. It's like with Hasbro Pulse recently, the Cobra Eel. I think that was 3 per customer, but for a fact that there'll be certain collectors that will have 2, 3, maybe 4 different accounts with Pulse, and they'll buy 3 on each account.
You can go off people, Gap. I thought we were friends.
The other interesting thing is how long is it on average, do you think, between a pre-order period and the stock actually hitting the shelves or going to people? What's the sort of gap, do you think?
Well,
because what I'm thinking here is that if you consider that a lot of it probably comes by boat, then logically they'll have already had to have manufactured X amount to put it on the boat to come across for it to be ready for sale for whenever. So however much is being pre-ordered can't possibly influence then how much is actually manufactured in the first place, which you would think would be why you would take pre-orders to try and guesstimate how many you should be trying to manufacture in the first place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But is that just a psychological thing? So they're sort of going, oh, better pre-order because everyone's going to want this, which generates demand for it, which they can't actually then fulfill because they've only got whatever they've already produced. So there'll be a second wave after it, but it's just to get that surge.
Yeah, I would possibly. The only recent example I can think of is the recent retro series. Star Wars retro figures, the set that has like 3PO and R2 and that in. The pre-order for that went up in... Oh, when did it go up now? But it's July, was it? I think it went up after Celebration, Star Wars Celebration. It was announced there.
Available at Celebration.
Yeah, so it was... Oh, yeah, some were available at Celebration with the convention tax applied. Yes. But yeah, it went up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse after it was announced at Celebration, and then to be made available, I think it was at the end of that month, later that month. That initial pre-order sold out. Then I think it was maybe a few weeks after that. Then it went out of stock, but then went on pre-order again. And then they came back in stock, they sold out, and I think now they're back in stock again, I think. So I think it was maybe they had the initial batch delivered, they went, then there was a secondary batch. But yeah, I think you do have a point there. There's a third-party Transformers company called Fans Toys, and they're doing a masterpiece version of Scourge from Transformers the movie. Oh, they've sold out now. Right. And what they've done is with that particular figure, it's the setting the manufacturer amount by how many have been pre-ordered. Yeah. So X amount of pre-orders, that's how many they're going to make. So it's whether or not afterwards they will do like a full production run, I don't know. But at the moment, Inquisitor, I think it's called, it's going to be they're just manufacturing to the amount of pre-orders that have been placed.
But you see, for a smaller company, that makes absolute sense because it means they have zero wastage. They've just got, they can do what they need to do and know exactly where they stand, which is great.
It's almost like a Kickstarter. It's the same principle as a Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly the same sort of idea. Yeah.
So but I would say with that retro collection with the Star Wars one with 3PO and that, I'm assuming Hasbro will have produced millions of those, because they'll be on worldwide sale, I would assume, so, it's not going to be in the hundreds of thousands, they will have produced enough, so what's that? I'm sticking with Nick and also dropping my phone.
That's because they're not meant to go up there. The arms have to come off in order for them to go up there.
Yeah, well, I had a NECA figure that its arm broke.
Yep.
Convert.
Very brittle. Very brittle. They're not as bad as they used to be.
No, well, the thing is, I watched a YouTube video after, because it was me Marty McFly. I got a Marty McFly from a friend for Christmas. And,
you have a friend?
Yeah, believe it or not, yes. Yes. Not many. My inner sanctum, my inner circle is very...
Don't want to know about your inner sanctum.
But yeah, I watched this YouTube video, and apparently this YouTube video was advising people with NECA figures to run them under warm water first before moving the joints.
No, I'm suggesting that you are being not rough on your figures, but you're allowing your figures to be rough with you.
And so basically the joints didn't break.
Interesting, to make it more malleable before you start. Yes.
But I mean, I can remember. I've still got it. An old Movie Maniacs RoboCop, and I think I went through 3, maybe 4 of those concurrently He was like, bought it, opened the package, broke. Took it back, got another one. Opened the package, broke. Took it back, got another one. On the third time, the shop that I got it from, the young lad at the counter, he actually said, right, I'll open it, yeah? And he actually opened it there, and it broke for him. So,
Oops.
yeah, so in the end, what he did was, he said, right, he says, he gave me my money back, and he said, here, just take them two and go away. So I ended up with 2 broken Robocops that I did manage to fix, but it was like, they were just awful, you know. What's that? I think they're using cheap plastic these days. I wonder in 10, 15 years what figures are going to look like after playing that kind of money. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Why should you have to put it in hot
you shouldn't have to put it
No.
in hot water. That might be something that we as fans have discovered that if you do that, it's a neat little trick to do. But they shouldn't be manufacturing them,
No.
believing that you are then going to put them into hot water.
But what is it that's causing that? Is it that they're assembling the figures before the paint has fully dried, or is it the I don't know, is it the kind of like the lubricant that they're using to ease the joints in that's going off, or what? You know, what's happening in the manufacturing process that's causing these joints to stick and then break when you move them?
It might even be, you know, if they're actually produced in a warmer country, then maybe that actually for them it isn't an issue. But then you knock it down from 25 degrees to 15 degrees or whatever, and all of a sudden they're that little bit colder. The nature of the material is such that it reacts to that, and you get a different.
But if if that was the case, the colder weather would mean that the joint would shrink. So it would
think
become
so
looser.
logically, yeah. But
so who knows?
It might make the material itself more bristle or something.
Yeah,
you know,
it's possible.
It could be a case that they are manufactured in an environment-controlled factory. Then they're sent out on these ships, and they've got the sun bearing down on them in these metal containers, and they're just baking in there, and the plastic's expanding. Yeah, and that's how. Because when they're doing their factory tests and everything like that to make sure it's passing quality control, they don't send it halfway around the world in a ship container and then bring it back to see if it's all right.
Well, no. I mean, they'll probably test something like maybe 3 in 20 or 3 in 50.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be a percentage that they test and take the average and say, right, okay, that batch has passed. We'll send that off, kind of thing. You know.
But then equally, of course, in fairness to them, you also don't know where they've been held locally before they appear on the shelves. So you don't know what they've been subjected to ultimately between the factory and the arrival on the shelf.
Well, it's probably quite humid in these sweatshops where they're built.
This isn't in relation to the actual figures, but more in relation to the packaging. I don't know if you've noticed, but the latest Hasbro figures, because they're going plastic-free on the packaging, aren't they? The hooks that they hang on are now part of the cardboard packaging, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas before, they were plastic hooks that were glued
Yeah.
to the box on the inside.
Mhm.
Well, the amount of times that I've walked into my shop on a morning, found 6 or 7 figures, the boxes just laying on the floor, and then the hooks swinging on the shelf. Because it's been so warm throughout the summer that it's made the glue warm up and it's just dropped. So you can imagine what it's doing to the figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Lobot has said that he's NECA Grimswood. Is that the Dungeons and Dragons figure?
Is that not a grim sword?
No, I thought he'd misspelt Griswold. So like,
Griswold. Let's have a look. NECA Grimswood. I think
I've fallen from my display thrice. Not
Twice.
once, not twice, but thrice.
He is indeed talking about the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons figure.
Nay, and thrice, nay, and nay again.
Right there. He's talking about that one. It's fallen thrice, and he has had all his bits and pieces intact. And strangely enough, I did get reports from this exact same figure having dodgy arms upon release. But fortunately, the ones that I've sold in the shop, I've had customers saying that they've been fine when they've checked them. McFarlane figures to Gap. The paint apps look awful and the faces look scary. Well, Batman's not supposed to look very friendly.
He's not your friendly neighbourhood Batman.
No, I don't know.
No, and
I find with the McFarlane figures, they're not up there with detail on the paint, and it's more a case of painting block colours. Yeah, it's more a case of right, it's got yellow arms and legs, and it's got a white shell. We're done. We're not going to paint the details in afterwards. That's what I get from McFarlane. But then again, they're a tenner cheaper than the Marvel Legends nearly. Well, they're about £8 cheaper than the Marvel Legends.
I mean, you could have a whole conversation about how Batman's been portrayed down the years and sort of,
That's probably got something to do with it as the price point. You shouldn't bake the figures like soft cookies, just saying, or soft biscuit. Yeah, it's biscuits over here. We don't like our biscuits soft, we like them soggy.
But you see, I think from a price point of view, because I don't know if people have noticed, but the G.I. Joe classified figures seem to be cheaper on average than the Black Series Star Wars figures.
And the Marvel Legends.
And the Marvel Legends. Now, my assumption on that is basically because Hasbro owned G.I. Joe outright. So, where with Star Wars and the Marvel Legends, the profit bracket is smaller. And also, as well, the thing that I've noticed, just going by that Cobra officer that I've got here just off camera, the quality of that is far superior to any of the Black Series figures that I've got. It's just it just feels a lot more solid. It's more detailed. It feels more sturdier. It's heavier. So like I say, I think there's probably more profit margin in the G.I. Joe classified figures for Hasbro than what there is for the Black Series. So maybe the Black Series figures are made a bit on the cheaper than what the classifieds are.
Well, you've definitely got the nail on the head there with saying that they don't have to pay a licensing fee.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, which is what really annoyed me when they did start doing the G.I. Joe classified.
Right.
They were more expensive than the Star Wars and the Marvel Legends, and that really bugged me. Because you don't have to pay a licensing fee on them, but you do on everything else, and yet they're more expensive.
Yeah, but if you look now, I think
it's now flipped. It has now flipped.
Yeah, the classified are now cheaper than what the Black Series is, and
that might also be driven not necessarily by licensing, but by how many they think they won't sell. So if they think they won't sell as many, they've got to price them higher to make their costs back. So it's kind of it swings around about a little bit, isn't it? Potentially with that sort of thing.
But the thing is, but with Black Series,
that's pretty mass market, isn't it? In terms of how many outlets it'll go to. Yeah.
But you've also got a hell of a lot of Black Series figures that have been produced that they just can't sell because nobody wants them.
They end up going to clearance very quick.
Characters. Who'd want a Black Series figure of Holdo? It's like, why?
I knew you were going to go to Admiral Holdo.
Why would you want or that other one?
Zori Bliss.
Who?
Zori Bliss.
Which one's she?
She's Poe Dameron's ex-girlfriend that turns up in the final.
Oh, the bright red outfit and the gold helmet.
Shall not be named. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And Rustico.
It's like, no.
Can you put this up? This is what I'm talking about. Look at that figure and face. Let's have a look. Can I? It doesn't give me a picture.
That is a picture.
Well, it's not come through, has it?
Oh, while you're trying to find that, Gareth, can I just mention something that I saw earlier today?
It won't let me highlight it either, Gap. Sorry. Let me see if I can get it from YouTube.
I saw a sneak preview image from the new Toxic Avenger film.
Is it a new Toxic Avenger film?
Yeah, and do you know
who's the bloke with the mop?
Yeah, Do you know who's playing the Toxic Avenger? Have a guess.
Let me have a guess.
No, let Andy have a guess first, because I know that I can tell it glint in your eye. You know, you've seen it.
No, I haven't. I'm just thinking
No, I'm
back
talking
to
to
the
Gareth.
thing was
Oh,
like,
I haven't seen it.
I don't know, like Ezra Miller or something.
No,
Work in Hollywood again.
no. Right, I will tell you. The person playing the Toxic Avenger in the new movie is Peter Dinklage. Yeah.
You know what this is, don't you? This is revenge for Disney not letting him be a dwarf.
So the new Snow White film, we have no dwarfs.
We turn vertically challenged, thank you.
It's the fact that Peter Dinklage is going to be picking people up and throwing them through walls.
But apparently, I've heard that Tattoo from Fantasy Island is going to be playing the main villain.
I don't know what that is.
Don't you?
No.
Andy should know who that is.
Fantasy Island.
Don't you know what Fantasy Island is?
No, don't think
Good
so.
grief. It was an American TV show that was brought over here, and it had Ricardo Montalban and an actor called Tattoo.
No.
He was
I know
quite
who he is.
and every week people would go to the island and have adventures on the island.
Oh, right, okay.
It was called Fantasy Island. It was a great show with that, Fantasy Island. Because Tattoo would always go, "De plane, boss, de plane," like that as the...
Oh, was Tattoo a little dinky boat, like a black
it's
bond
who
with it?
played, it's him who played, is it Nick Nack in Man with the Golden Gun?
Yeah. Oh, right, him. Yeah.
Yes.
Got you.
That's the one.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, that I just found that quite funny today when I saw that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great actress, Peter Dinklage. I mean,
Oh, he is.
you know, I can't knock him, but
Without a shadow of a doubt.
it's just like,
You know what I saw him in the other day, and God, I won't remember what it was, but I think it was...
Elf.
No, it was like an Amazon Prime post-apocalyptic kind of thing. He was like keeping a town running or something, and he sort of catalogued everything, and he sort of
I forget
buried all the bodies, and
he was
sort of-
burying all the bodies, wasn't he? And he
yeah,
the girl who survived as well.
yes.
It's the name. The film is the name of a song, or it's a line from a song.
Right.
Oh.
I found a few of these little sort of just it's like the thing these things on Prime that you don't really see advertised, but it sort of recommends for you, you know, on the basis of other stuff you've watched, and some of them are really, really good. I find it's quite impressive just how much stuff is being produced now as well. I mean, I thought about this the other day. It's like, you know, when we were growing up,
I think we're alone
the same
now.
overlap.
There doesn't seem to be anybody around. That's what the name of the film is.
What, I think we're alone now, or Tiffany?
I think we're alone now.
She was quite tidy with Tiffany. I remember her and Debbie Gibson.
Before I get rid of this, I'll respond to Gap and I'll say I don't think this is terrible. I don't think that's a bad figure at all, to be honest with you. For the price point that these come out at, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Why has he got Ghost Rider's jacket?
It's that version of Superboy.
Superboy was a bit edgy, wasn't he? I think at
Was
a
it?
point.
Superboy doesn't look masculine like he should. I didn't think Superboy ever looked masculine.
Now let's just talk. Let's talk for a moment about this chest getup. Is this a current thing? Because I've noticed that some of these figures have sort of upper torsos that kind of overlap their lower torsos. Is that to give them more
Right articulation,
Yeah.
Ab crunch. It's the ab crunch articulation.
right articulation. I would say that it possibly looks older than he should do, but that's pushing.
He looks like he's some sort of 80s pop star.
It looks like bloody Caitlyn Jenner. Or is it Bruce Jenner? Oh, no, I don't know.
Right, I'm going to bring up Discount Superboy. And in the new Superman movie coming out, we have Discount Superman, a Henry Cavill knockoff. Well, it is what it is. I'm not getting onto that. I'm going to wait and see. I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be any good, and he proved me wrong with that. So
Yeah, I might have managed to catch up with that. I've always quite liked the Guardians films because they're set off Earth. They just have that bit more scope.
I'm not on board with a lot of the decisions that James Gunn seems to have made, and Peter Safran seems to have made with the DC thing moving forward. But
you mean the selective? Things that they're cancelling and keeping up. Like we're getting rid of
this, that, and the other, but we're going to keep this and that. Yeah.
It's like, well, how does that work? Oh, that's because your brother and your wife are involved in it. That's why.
Yeah, I've got to say I disapprove of it, but at the end of the day, going from his past experience, he's got a lot of talent. He does know what he's doing, and I'm willing to wait and see the results before I complain about it. And I probably will complain about it.
Didn't he even get cancelled at one point?
It's what?
Didn't he even get cancelled at one point? They had to fight quite hard to keep him on Guardians 3.
Well, this is why he's ended up at DC. But yeah, that's the film you're talking about.
Yes.
Right.
And I do highly recommend it. I saw it on Netflix. I know you said you saw it on Amazon Prime. It's probably moved over there now. But yeah, really.
I mean, it could have been either. I mean, yeah.
Gareth, please hold. I have James Gunn on the line for you. Put him on. Let's get him on the live stream. That'd be fantastic. We suddenly see it go up from 11 to 65,000.
Yeah, but would you want that? You wouldn't have a good...
just to provide links to the website.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a good class of viewer then. You know, we've got a nice small, good class of viewer at the moment.
Well, I agree with the small. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. You're all amazing. Absolutely. And sorry, Benjamin, I missed one of your comments earlier. We were talking about Zori Bliss at the time.
Yeah, I see. He mentioned Daft Punk there. Was it a few weeks ago we had this conversation?
What's just happened there?
Is that Thunder?
No, that was Andy.
That was my fan. I just tried my fangs on very, very warm. That's all. Sorry.
See, I just thought that you'd missed your tea and you was really hungry and that was your stomach rumbling.
No, wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think it was the fortnight ago when we were doing the San Diego Comic Con thing, and there were the sports figures. Where it's like the sport, figures of sport and things like that. That's not my thing, but I don't know who did them. I think it might be the same people that did the Pink Skulls. There was they did a set of Daft Punk figures,
right?
And
right.
I think it's a few years ago now. I mean, they're like hen's teeth now, and they are expensive when they do come up. But when I saw them, I thought I'd have those.
Yeah.
I do like Daft Punk myself, but that's something I'd have, but not like I said, the sports thing.
They're 1/6 scale figures,
right?
So hot toy size, and
yeah.
One of my suppliers did have them in stock, but they were in the hundreds.
Right.
Plus that.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of times I almost pulled the plug on it. But I was like, no. Am I still going to like Daft Punk in 5, 10, 15 years' time? And it's like, yes, you idiot. Buy them. It's too late now. Too late.
I suppose that must be a difficult call for you, though, isn't it? Because if you sort of sink money into something and it just sits there, it's just that question of will the right person come along to pick it up? Because I suppose you've got you've only got finite space as well, haven't you? So you've got to try and make that judgment call about what's going to shift and what isn't. It's hard, isn't it?
I was thinking about buying them for myself.
Okay.
Well, let's face it, there's only 2 of them. There's only 2 of them. Gav, I think you've asked me this before. It's purely a case of that there are none. The ship-wise, I think that there's only current toys, there's only the Eagle Moss ones, and I have had those in, and they've sold, and now I can't get any more. And figure-wise, they just don't exist.
The only ones that I know of are, I suppose, Master Replicas might possibly still be selling the Eagles because they'd have the Eagle Moss stock in. Now, who was it? Is it? I always get the numbers wrong. Is it 1862 or something? There is a company who does limited runs of Space 1999 stuff.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if they're still doing them. I don't know if they distribute to shops in general, whether or not they usually have to go direct. But they definitely do exist. But I don't think they're sort of massively widely available, like maybe say Product Enterprises were in the day. Because they come up, don't they? From time to time, there's Product Enterprise ones that look quite nice.
It's just sent me a link to something as Gap.
It's quite a niche market in and of itself.
It's very niche, which is another reason why I might be disinclined to stock them. But
let me just see if this is.
This is something it's showing. It's a 6-inch figure at $70. That's probably why I'm not stocking it.
If you have a look at.
I also don't stock the Mezco 112 collective unless they get brought in, just because it's so expensive.
That's it, Mezco. That's who does the pink skulls. Mezco.
That's right. Yeah, Mezco do pink skulls.
I mean, those pink skulls are gorgeous. I would love a set of them, but again, the price is just it's just too much. It's just too much. It's more than I'm willing. I'm prepared to pay.
1612 were the numbers I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's on that list in there. And I've also just had a look, literally, as we've got this up on the screen. One of my suppliers, the only one that I can think of that might sell anything remotely related to Space 1999, have nothing for Space 1999. So, no. In fact, you type Space 1999 and the results are Space Jam, Space Jam, Space Jam 2, Space Jam, Space Jam 2. I think you get where this is going. And Final Space vinyl figure. I don't even know what that is.
That's a computer game, I think.
It looks very computery, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no Space 1999. So yeah, that's why I don't do it. I can't get it. Apologies.
It's funny because the Eagle does seem to have a lot of recognition still. People tend to recognize it. In fact, the place I went to this weekend, Cromford Mills, had a lot of sort of scratch built type Eagles and other flavors of Eagles on display. And generally speaking, people do recognize it. Even if they even if they don't know specifically what it's from, they do recognize it.
Hello there, Logan.
Okay.
Apparently, Final Space is a TV show.
Oh, it's this TV show, is it? Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's have a look.
Is it an animated one?
It looks animated. Yeah, it looks.
Yeah.
It actually stars David Tennant.
Oh.
And Conan O'Brien. I've suddenly lost interest. Yeah, that's not for me. It looks like what's that? Rick and Morty. It looks like Rick and Morty on crack.
Reminds me of when Sophie Aldred was a character in that kids' TV show on CBeebies. CBBC. What was it called? Like an elf chap flying around the place. And Treefoo Tom.
Treefoo Tom.
Yeah.
Treefoo Tom.
Treefoo Tom. Kid you not.
Treefoo Tom.
I'm sure she was a voice actress on that.
Do you remember an old kids show called Stigger the Dump?
Oh yes.
I read the book.
Yeah, and the book as well. He made windows out of jam jars, as I recall.
Yeah, Stigger the Dump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And do you also remember those Was it Children Foundation films?
Yes.
These films that used to be on Saturday mornings.
Like the Child from Space, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's
yeah,
called now. The little guy, yeah.
And I mean, you'll have watched Wurzel Gummidge, yeah, and Cat Weasel.
Sally.
Do you remember Cat Weasel as well? Cat Weasel was the guy who played the Crow Man in Wurzel Gummidge. He was in another one called Cat Weasel.
I know of Cat Weasel. I'm not sure that I was old enough to. I remember things like
it would have been repeats. I think that was maybe like early 70s, but I think it maybe ran while mid 70s. You know, there been repeats, but he was the same actor in that show. But yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a tangent there. Just
completely jumped a generation back there.
Have you looked at Tree Food Tom?
I had a look at Tree Food Tom. Yes, it was Sophie Aldred, and also it was David Tennant.
Yes, that's why it came to mind when you mentioned him. I think, yeah, in a a voice actory sort of mode. Yeah.
Interesting that after all these years and after being sacked, Sophie Aldred is still working for the BBC.
Well, she came back as Ace, didn't she?
She did, yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
we won't get into that episode.
Yeah, recently, wasn't it, that she came back?
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, that's my soul just drifting out the window there.
Well, things change. Not for
well, if you're going to change it, why bring back the old stuff to try and get people like me interested again?
Well, because it's not working, is it?
Because
but that's the thing.
The thing you've changed it into isn't resonating with the people you're trying to attract, and it's pissed off those that.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I finally watched Babylon 5: The Road Home today.
Oh, any good?
It's very interesting.
That's no.
no, because I sort of need to sit and watch it because I was watching it on my setup here rather than on a bigger TV and stuff. Because they've taken the opportunity to refresh a lot of the sort of the designs. So although it looks very much like Babylon 5, because it's the first animated thing they've ever done with Babylon 5, they've chosen to do it all in a slightly different presentation, if that's the right way of putting it. So when you see a ship that you're used to seeing as sort of real world CGI render, then you see it. They've obviously done stuff with it. They've tweaked it, and so you sort of think that's not how I remember it in my day. But like it's 30 years on, so JMS has basically said, do what you want to do to refresh it because it's 30 years on at the end of the day. So it's, as Gareth was saying there, it's got to try and appeal to a new audience if they're going to keep it going as a show, whilst not completely alienating. And the thing is, they've used a lot of the original voice actors, those who are still alive, so that people will have that immediate sort of link mentally back to them. And that worked for me. The ones that it didn't work for were the new people, where I was just going, that's not the right acts, and that's, it's not how they would have done it back in their day, but I get that they're new. But part of my brain can't disconnect from what I've been watching for the past 30 years. That's what I found a bit, and the music's different. So I couldn't quite, on the first watching, I couldn't quite bring myself over. And I've sort of watched the making of now, so I I understand why now. So I just need to sort of try and set it aside a little bit and look at it for what it is rather than for what I know of it.
Yeah.
But then you won't connect to it as much if you haven't seen what's gone before either.
But the thing is, though, I mean, I think that it's. I understand what you're saying, but
the fly.
a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, it's not aimed at us. Yeah.
No.
It's like like this new Babylon 5. It will be aimed to try and draw in a new audience, but hopefully bring along a few of the old fans with it as well.
Absolutely.
Like the recent Transformers movie, the Rise of the Beasts. I know it's not aimed at me. I'm not its core audience. Yeah, its core audience are people, hell of a lot younger than me that are fresh to the franchise that they hope they can draw in. But there's just enough callbacks in it to interest fans of my generation. Yeah, but
Yeah.
It's not for us. I mean, like I say, I mean, it's you know, we're at that age now that mass media, it's not aimed at us. You know, it's aimed at 2 generations below us now. You know, we've just got to accept that, and we can't get precious about it. I mean, we still do. I mean, I do it all the time. I'll watch something, I'll think, no, that's wrong, that's right. It's not supposed to be like that. But it's like that thing, you know, there's the 2 voices on your shoulder. You know, one's saying, no, it's all wrong, it's all rubbish. But the other one's saying, look, it's not for you anymore. You know, you've got to let it go, kind of thing.
But it is funny because there were very clearly quite a few moments in there which were aimed at people who had seen the entire series.
Yeah.
So I do this sort of Captain American thing, sort of. I got that. I understood that reference. I understood that reference. You know, and it's like, yeah, I get that. I understand why.
My take on this particular Babylon 5 thing, if they're trying to attract a new audience, which they do need to attract a new audience if they're going to try and go for any sense of longevity with the series, why would you go for a story where it relies on you needing to know everything that's already happened? Because this one, it's where he's literally travelling through his own timeline, isn't it? And it's...
give or take. I'm not going to say too much because it's only just come out, so I don't want to be spoiling.
Okay.
But yes, it helps definitely if you know.
The way that it's been pitched and the way that it is sold in the trailers suggests very strongly that you need to know a lot of what's already gone off. Otherwise, you're not going to get what the hell it's about.
The film surprised me because the film does actually include a little bit of a sort of recap on how we got to this particular point. It's set at the end of, it is towards the end of season 5, actually. So you would have had to have watched most of Babylon 5 to actually be at the sort of the natural jumping off point for the film. But yes, you're right. It then goes off in different directions which don't follow the original series. So you don't. It's not dependent on it. It's nice if you have, because there are callbacks, definitely. You know, there's definitely lots of callbacks. It's, to my mind, it's like a Babylon 5 What If episode, only switched to 1 hour and 20. You know, what if this happened? What if this didn't happen? All that sort of stuff. So it's that kind of idea, you know?
Tell me one thing.
Okay.
Does Hercules pop up holding a vial screaming, "I've got it"?
Not that I recall.
No. You don't know? Hercules. Kevin Sorbo? Is it Kevin Sorbo? Kevin Sorbo?
Sorbo. Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo,
Yeah. Well, as far as we know, they're still out there looking for a cure for the people on Earth. So does he turn up at the end just going, "I've got it"?
Are you thinking of Gary Cole?
Yeah, but he's thinking of Gary Cole. They do look quite similar, does Gary Cole and Kevin Sorbo.
Is it Gary Cole? Yes, it is Gary Cole, isn't it? Sorry, no,
Gary
not
Cole,
Kevin
Gary
Sorbo.
Cole.
Well, that joke's completely gone, hasn't it? It's gone west. Yeah, you're watching it at the moment. Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, but you've already seen it, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you've already seen it, so I'm not spoiling anything. Obviously, the whole point is that they go out looking for a cure, and as of yet, 20 years later, they still haven't found that bloody cure. So everyone on Earth's dead. So all I'm asking is, does he turn up at the end then? Gary Cole,
no.
Kevin Sorbo, does he turn up just going, "I've got it"?
No.
That's all we need.
But there are some really genuinely sort of funny kind of real world references in there.
It was Andromeda that he was in.
Yes, he was in Andromeda, correct.
Andromeda, not Crusade.
He was saving a different universe rather than that Babylon 5 universe. Yes.
Yes.
But yes, it was a spacey, wacy, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly sort of series as well. Yes.
I watched those 2 series one after another.
Oh.
That's why I made that.
Yeah. And that's another one I've not seen.
That's okay.
I haven't seen Andromeda either.
At best.
But you see, to be fair, I mean, I suppose they probably came out at the wrong time for me. When were it? Were it 93, 94 maybe they came out?
Yeah.
So, you know,
Andromeda was later, but not massively later than that, though. Actually, it was very CGI heavy as well, but it was a little bit on from early B5. Yeah.
Because what I'm just trying to think, Andromeda, was that the one where has it got like this guy that's all dressed in black, looks like a bit of a demon or goblin kind of looking thing, white face and that, and is that Andromeda or is that something else?
I think you're thinking Stargate.
2000.
I would say you might be thinking Stargate Atlantis. If I were
No,
to
it's
guess.
not. No, it's not Stargate Atlantis.
Okay.
It looks like a black leathery kind of costume, and it's
Farscape.
Oh, is that
Scorpius.
Farscape? Is it?
That's probably Scorpius who described it, I think. Yeah.
Right, that's another one I haven't seen. I haven't seen Farscape either.
It's quite good. Farscape's quite good if you give it a chance. As with many series, obviously, you give it a chance, and it's quite interesting. Farscape.
Right.
Well, I've given Starfleet a chance.
Yes, you have, haven't you? Yes.
All right.
Yeah. 5 episodes I did on Monday.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, 4 and 5 good episodes actually.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was waiting for the big red robot, and it's like, where the fuck's this big red robot?
I think 4 and 5 introduced him, as I recall.
Yeah. Well, he turns up at the end of 4,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really do anything. Then he's floating around in bits all the way through 5, and I'm like, have I been missold on this?
No, it gets
Everyone
to
goes on about how amazing this Big Diex is, and it's done now.
he gets to do quite a lot of stomping and stuff later on. So yeah.
Okay.
There's the episode where he's walking through the trench. Is it on Pluto? Is it and he's destroying the tanks and the?
That's probably Jupiter, actually. I think.
Is it Jupiter? Is it?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode that off the top of my head that comes in, but it does come.
Yeah, he's just walking through the trenches, like smashing him and standing on and stomping and stuff.
Barry Hercules going, give him the old 1-2 and all that
Yeah.
sort of jazz is
But that's the thing. I mean, they are 3 separate sections, and they come together in space, and then they're just sort of like, and then the
Braincom, main body and leg tracks. I claim my Geek of the Day award.
yeah. And those, can I just mention as well, those new figures that's coming out?
Yes.
Not
What
for
about-
me. Not for me.
No, I've heard people saying not for them.
Yeah. The Chiron, the Barry's not bad, but that John Lee just looks horrid. It looks awful.
Well, it looks horrid in the series.
It's what?
It looks horrid in the series.
Well, he's just like he's short, fat, and ginger, isn't he?
I know.
He
Yeah, what?
was. That's the whole point, surely.
I'm watching it and I'm like,
He
how
was.
the hell did he pass the health test to be able to be in Starfleet?
I think
Well,
he was comms officer or something. I don't think he was anything particularly,
I don't know, but this is made in a time when you have to pass a certain fitness test to be a policeman.
really? Have you not seen the modern day police force?
I said this was made in a time,
Yeah.
when you had to pass.
Yeah,
That's
but it was portraying a future where, everyone gets an award.
Even fatties like me can be a space adventurer.
But yeah, it's Drake from Aliens. Is John Lee?
Yeah.
The actor, Mark Rolston, the actor, he does the voice for John Lee.
And
I noticed Big was in there.
Peter Marinka, who does Dr. Ben, has done a lot of voiceover work. When you look him up, he did a lot of manga stuff.
Yeah, but he also did as well the
You're right, Benjamin.
the Ladybird Transformers Telltale books as well. He did those.
Cool.
But yeah,
You do pick him up, and I think he did a Voltron dub as well.
right.
No, sorry, no, I might be thinking of Peter Cullen actually. But there was one guy, he started talking about it and went, that's Optimus Prime. I was like, what? He's like, hang on, that's not. Yeah.
That's something I regret selling. I had a really nice Voltron Lion Force.
Wow, cool.
Would you call it a Chogokin? It's the big die-cast metal one from the 80s. I had one of those, and I kind of regret selling that. I still have one, but it's really badly beaten up. There's a nice one on eBay at the moment, but I can't bring myself to pay the asking price.
Well, don't then.
I'm not gonna 400 quid. That's my price.
It is funny though what some people do on eBay, because I saw one thing go for like 99p the other day because one person bid on it, whereas other people, somebody will put it at a stupid starting price, and yet somebody will still pay that just because that's the only one that's there that's available. And it's kind of, well, it pays your money, don't you? When you put it up as a bidder, you either hope there's going to be competition, or you just have to accept it's going to go for peanuts if you put it up for peanuts. I guess it's just one of those things, So yeah, interesting.
Yes. I screwed up.
Should we start thinking about calling it a day? Because I think others are starting to drift off now as well, aren't they?
It looks that way, yes. We've done over 2 hours.
Yeah.
We've done over 2
Well, it looks like my talking point's going to have to wait while the next one again.
All right, okay. Why have you got another talking point?
Yeah, it's the one that I was going to do 2 weeks ago. So she's no, it's right. No, it's right. It'll wait. I've got they're all here, ready and wait. Oh, I have to put them back on the shelf now.
Is this what you ran off to get?
Yeah, it's what I went to get. It'll be right. I'll just have to get my spreadsheet up so I can put them back in order.
Oh, we got spreadsheets. Right, okay then, guys. We'll say goodbye. Good night to everyone in the chat. Some of you are already saying good night to each other.
Farewell.
Yeah. We will see you all in 2 weeks' time.
We will.
Josh says bye as well. Here we are. Right, yeah. Good night, everyone. I'm going to go out with a bit of a comedy sketch. It might be seen as distasteful at the moment, but I think it's funny, and it is what it is. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
How's Mr. Banerjee?
He's not very well.
Why?
I exterminated him.